Okay, my name is Anwar Jamison, and I'm the president and owner of BKE Films, where we out here trying to bring you some dynamic content.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I got my brother Anwar Jamison. You might have seen his movie Coming to Africa. It's not his first project. The guy with BKE Films, he's doing big things. But this Coming to Africa, when this came across my email, you guys already know. I was glued in, had to watch it that night with my wife, and I said, this is the film. This is what I needed to see. Man, brother, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Man, I'm great, man. Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Man, what you guys did, and everybody can go check it out on Amazon and Apple and so many other platforms, as long as you pay for it, don't just, but even if you get the bootleg, try to do a review. So at least you do something to encourage folks on making this type of content. You went from America to the continent on this film. Just give us your background and how did you, come up with this idea for this film?
Well, I've always been a writer first and foremost. A writer, an educator. My background was in English. My degrees were in English. I already was an English professor. I went back to school, to film school to learn film. Fell in love with that, so I started doing movies. So prior to this, I had done 3 movies, but this was one that was always in the back of my mind. It was something I wanted to do. I wanted to really show a side of Africa that had never been seen. I knew that the medium of film was a powerful medium to be able to do that, as opposed to just telling people, about it. The more I learned, I wanted to share it with people. And I said, man, if I could make a movie about it, package it in a lighthearted, comedic way, but still hit them with all those points that I want to get across, I thought we'd have something powerful. So I'm proud of the way that it came out.
Man, and you definitely have something powerful, but it is not easy to shoot in even 2 different states when you don't have, the majors backing you up. And I know that we had your cousin on who was also in the film. Almost by default, he just kind of slipped in there like I'm trying to slide in a role and stuff. And, talk about the benefits of filming in Africa.
Well, one benefit is the cost of living difference. And so not just cost of living, but then I would say cost of shooting. So I was able to have a crew at my disposal like I had never had. And I'm like, this is what it feels like. So sometimes being an indie filmmaker, you got a certain amount of people, everybody trying to do 2 or 3 different jobs just to make it happen. So this is my first time being able to step up to, 20 something people running around, and they running around just for me, and they doing their job and they doing it well. And that was a different experience, but it was all due to the fact of the difference in the currency. When I was able to take my budget over there, it was able to stretch a lot further than it did over here. Even the few days that we had to shoot here in Memphis, if I compare that to the majority of the movie over there, is crazy. The bang for the buck, that I was able to get over there. So that's one thing. And the other thing is I just really love my crew over there, man. It's no disrespect to all my people here and all my homies I work with, but it's a different appreciation. You get over there on the continent and you like, they really do have that, I'm going to get everything out of this mentality, everything out of my talent, everything out of this day. It was a level of appreciation and seriousness in the crew that I really loved, and we just bonded like family, man, and got it in.
Can you give a ballpark figure so all your cousins and long lost cousins don't come hitting you up, in the email of what that budget was, so people can say, well, he did that movie and it's on all these platforms, but it's probably because he started off with $200,000 and I don't have that, because people always want to make an excuse, and I want to kill excuses. I kill it and murder it. So was that budget that you were able to stretch so greatly?
Production wise, roughly about 70, started out about 65, 70 starting out. And then had to add on to it as I got into post-production and doing some different things. It's probably at about 120,000 right now. You know what I mean, with the whole thing, but to actually go over there, shoot it and all that, the production side, it was around 65, 70, somewhere in there, just as far as shooting that part. And again, when you think about going over there, man, we going to another country, plane tickets, you got a crew you taking. I mean, there's no way. Like, it should have been what we pulled off. I shouldn't have been able to do for less than 500,000. Like, period. Like, you know what I mean? If we were doing the whole thing here, doing it a certain way, doing it, having it, all of that stuff, man. So, yeah, I was able to make it happen.
Yeah, and permits alone, and I know in Ghana where you filmed it, that's not, you have some leeway on doing things. Now, for those future filmmakers or current filmmakers, they say, well, who funded you, cousin? Because I can't get funding, and the only people that will give me money, I have to sell my whole film to. So, how did you go about raising capital?
I'll just tell people, I hate to say where there's a will, there's a way, because if there wasn't this way, I don't know what I would have done. But it was just ironic for me because as an artist, a creator, we always trying to get out of our day jobs. Some people went the route early on to just never having a day job. I'm going to be the starving artist and just make it. That was never me. So I came out of school and I went straight in. I was teaching middle school fresh out of college. I was a middle school teacher at like 21, and all of this stuff. So I had always been teaching. And then, like I said, I'm a college professor. So it's funny because there's certain people I went to, certain people who wanted to help out, who thought they would be able to, who when the time came, they really couldn't. Then it was other people who I thought I know he gonna be, on board, and they just treated me like I was whatever. And it was certain people who, it was all these things. I just knew I would have to fund it the way that everybody thinks, like I get investors, they believe in this. That's what we're told as indie filmmakers. It didn't happen. So I'm sitting there with everything lined up. And I'm like, what in the world? I'm sitting there praying and everything. I'm like, I know this movie is meant to happen. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Everything lined up. And then it just, something hit me in the head. I got that reply like, you already have the money. It was almost like literally it was. But because I've been a college professor, 10, 11 years already, been teaching, it's like, I was like, man, I've never been one of those people to try to, go into my retirement, to buy a house, to buy a car. I never looked at my retirement. Like literally, I was like, okay, they take all this money out my check every 2 weeks. When I retire, it's going to be there. And some saying, how does that even work? I was like, let me just call them. I'm like, I never even checked. And the automated system, how you had an automated system before you even get somebody that was like, your balance is. I was like, my balance is what? Like, I got that kind of money? Like, okay, and I can take some? So it's crazy because I end up funding it by borrowing against my own retirement, against my own money. You know what I mean? So I was like, wow, once I realized I can do that, and then outside of that, I had to take, a couple more minor little bank loans. But the chunk of it was just borrowing against my own retirement. And that just empowered me so much more. I'm like, hold on, this is my money? Like, I ain't got nobody else to answer to now. Like, I don't have to come back to nobody to explain what I'm doing with it. It just made me feel so much better. I feel like I just grew like 2 feet. Like, oh, can't nobody tell me nothing now. Because I'm like, if I blow it, if this don't work, if I don't follow through, it's my money I blew, like, period. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to come back to nobody, but I had the confidence in myself to know I could deliver. So I don't know how to tell other people to do that, unless you've been working on a job, they got retirement for a certain amount of time. But I think there are ways, to think outside the box. But the thing I will say is, the sad part about it is these people not coming to help you. A lot of this help, you just think if you get in a room with the right person, you get into like, it's probably not coming unless you have, somebody really close to you with that kind of money because I was really disheartened by certain people. I'm like, wait a minute, I felt like I earned the right to have a conversation with anybody who I could reach. I'm like, bro, I got 2 master's degrees. I'm a college professor. I done started my own film program that I built from the ground up at an accredited institution. I done already did 3 movies. Like, you don't even want to listen? Like for 15 minutes, I can't even get, I'm like, I felt like my resume, should get me at least a conversation. I don't mind somebody saying no. I never minded somebody saying no. But yeah, I was a little offended by people who wouldn't even listen to me once I got to them. Like, we connected already, and you can't even. Okay, so yeah, I to the filmmakers out there, man, it's you have to find creative ways and find a way because yeah, these people are not coming to save us, man.
No, they're definitely not. Only Jesus saves. And, with you doing your retirement, that in itself shows how bad you wanted to do it. Because, I mean, most Black, men probably don't get to use their retirement. The way it goes with all the stress in this country and why we push Africa so much on this platform to show people you can have a business out there and you can win because this is like smoke and mirrors. This is a facade. All of this is, it's fake. It looks real good, but it's not real. So you took the leap of faith to do that. What would you say, when somebody would be like, well, I want to do that, but then it's going to penalize me during tax time. Like, do you do this with the advice of a CPA?
Yeah, and I did. I spoke to my guy who does my taxes about it. And the thing is which I won't even go into all the details on the air, but it can be beneficial. Like tax wise, if you're able to do that, I wouldn't worry about it because the thing is, you have everything to write off. You have everything to show that you spent. So it's not like taking this money, borrowing against your retirement, and you sitting on it or you blowing it on something. I have all the receipts. I had a plane ticket receipts. I have, the equipment I have. So you can show all the things that I spent. So then you filing that on your taxes, you know what I mean? So there's definitely a way to do it where everything is on the up and legal. And again, that's your money. You know what I mean? So that's what I had to realize. Because first I'm like, no, but certain things, once I got into the process, I'm like, oh, that's why they're making it so easy and convenient because it is my money. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be like this. So it was that kind of thing, man. So it really was an avenue that opened up. And I just knew, I'm like, okay, this is obviously a one-shot thing. Like, I'm not coming back tapping this again, like period. So this has to work. So now it's to the point, having this finished product and having it out here is amazing, man, because I just feel like I took that shot and I did it. I got what we needed to get out of it.
Now, was this your first time on the continent when you went to Ghana?
This was my first time on the continent, man. And it's crazy because for years we planned this project, me and Power. We planned this project, we talked about it, and I thought I would be able to do it before, and then it wouldn't work out. Then I thought I'd be able to do it, and it wouldn't work out. So my plan was to take a trip to the continent first, spend some time, tighten up the script, go home. Next time I come, we shoot the movie. But each time when I wasn't able to go, I was just like, man, that's not going to work. I have to plan a trip and shoot the movie the first time I go. So again, like you said, and originally he wasn't going to act in it, I wasn't going to act in it. I was like, cuz we're going to fall back, got a little budget, we're going to hire actors. But being that I ended up having to act in it, I wasn't supposed to act in it either. Being that I was there for the first time and the character was there for the first time, being there for the first time worked to my advantage because some of those things the character was going through for the first time, I was literally going through for the first time. So I think it helped the acting performance.
Okay. And, you hit on some real life scenarios. I'm not going to give too much of the movie away, folks, because you're going to have to go watch it. But just the experience of, getting to the bar, and you're a big man because them shots are a lot cheaper over there than they are here. You can buy out the bar. And, I'll be honest. My wife, she watched it. She was like, she got frustrated because the Playboy in Africa, she's like, oh, here we go again. And I said, nah, but you got to keep watching because this is a real life story. This is how it is when you first get to Africa. You feel like, hold on, did I grow? Like you said, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. You got your 2 feet and you got more money in your seat. So it just, that feeling, I think it really came off genuine, and so many men especially can, understand that. And even your disrespect that you did at the bar to that lonely worker, so you thought. And that's where I'm going to end it, y'all, because y'all got to watch this film and have everything. Like, it's not your traditional film. You went that whole untraditional route. So it being your first time in making that, did you know you were going to do all those scenes prior to getting to Ghana?
Yes. I really wanted those were certain things I wanted to touch on is because, again, while it's a comedy on the surface, I had specific things I definitely wanted to hit. And one of those things, that rude American archetype, you know what I mean, is a real thing. You know what I mean? Some of us, I'm telling certain people, everybody like, man, I'm coming. When you going back? When you going back? I'm like, anybody come with me, like, you basically getting the orientation, or you know who you need to give orientation to. And it's like, bro, you can't come over here and be that dude. Like, that dude don't exist over there. Like, you gotta relax. Like, over here we can be a little bit more on the stuff we be on. And it's like, I wanted a character. I wanted to show that, you know what I mean? Because that is a lot of us. And you get in a place where the culture is a lot more peaceful. It's a lot more respectful. And there can be that contrast. So I wanted to show that. So there were things like that, like you said, this guy over here feels like he's a playboy. You get over there, and a lot of our minds, that's what we think, oh man, if African women, I'm gonna go over here and do this or that. And dudes over there be marrying multiple, you know what I mean? Like a lot of us, you know what I mean? But that's why I chose the characters carefully, because I wanted the characters in there to represent different sides of us, So my character represented one thing, Khalil Kane's character represented something, Power represented something, and it's like the complete 360 of Black men in America to me.
Okay, and I can't wait for I know we're pumping part 1, but I know there's going to be a part 2, and you guys have started to begin. And if Khalil, tell him I said it. If he doesn't take himself on a plane and do I told Power the Last Poet remix, and then Power and everybody get in the bring that whole essence of his father and his work over to Ghana and say, okay, this is what it's like, because I mean it's such a powerful movie, and with Coming to America, starting a part 2, I think people are going to see in their Amazon, like, Coming to in the future, and be like, oh, hold on, Coming to Africa, I gotta peep that as well. And you did it right. I am the biggest collector of Nigerian movies that does not sell them in America. I have so many VCDs, and I know African film. I know it, right? And I've seen people try to do what you've done. They haven't done it justice. You did it justice. I'm just telling you, from an expert in the field, you did it justice.
Appreciate that.
And so, with this film, some people say, okay, Kellen, he has a great film. I watched it. It's on Amazon. It's on Apple. But I have not, seen him on Forbes yet. I haven't seen him in the Bentley, because sometimes your success is only if you're grandiose and they want to see you now do a movie like for the theater. So what's the plan for this film? Because you just are now marketing it out. Can you even start writing on another project or working on other projects to, pay the bills? And you have a job as well. So where are you on your day to day?
I'm definitely writing right now, and I am writing on. We going back and forth now. I've been talking to my sisters and brothers on the continent. We plotting out this part 2, most definitely. So we got some tricks up our sleeve, and I'm always writing. I'm always creating. So that's my thing. And as far as you said about the people who will say, well, I haven't seen this, I haven't seen that. I'm just blessed and fortunate. I didn't choose to be this way, but the money never moved me. The only thing about money that ever moved me is the independence of it, like to get enough to be able to move independently. So I always give Nipsey Hussle as an example, is the greatest example I could give. Nipsey passed, and a lot of people, I remember my sister, she's like, I didn't really know him like that. Should I have him? I was like, nah, that's the beauty of it. It's like, he wasn't like out here on radio. He wasn't doing all of this stuff. But when they pulled that double XL freshman cover back up, and I looked at it like, dang, you look at everybody on there with him. It was like Wiz Khalifa, J-Rock. I can't think of half the people. Everybody on there, basically had what you would say a way greater career to that point. He stepped back from a major label on purpose to be like, nah, hold on, let me build this brick by brick. I don't like how y'all doing it. So it took him 7, 8, 9 years to resurface back where he could have technically been on that freshman cover, and he would have been driving whatever he wanted to drive, but that bank account would have been slim. So to take that step back and build it up the way he wanted to, is I look at it as a parallel for like how I've been. I never wanted somebody to reach out and give me some big check, all this, and it got strings attached and I can't do what I want to do. Like, no, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to build this brick by brick and I'm going to level up. So I'm like, I'm great. Okay. I'm like, this is the highest level so far. Now I see the next levels coming. I see now people starting to speak and listen a little different and all of that. So I'm like, all of that stuff will come. And that's cool. I love it. But it's the ability to control it. The ability that I didn't have to sell none of this off. I own it like 100%. So anybody want to come do a deal about it, they have to see me. Like, that's priceless to me. Like, I'd rather have that than somebody had put $1 million in my bank account, last year for it. And now I don't got no say so. I can't talk about the movie. I don't know how much they really make it off of it. None of that stuff. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's I say, but everybody has to know what they in these things for. That's me. Somebody else might be, hey, I'm strictly just give me the check and let me go create them. I don't care about all that. Everybody just needs to know what they in it for, whatever it is they doing.
Definitely, and the fun of it, and you never know until you really, max something out all the way and can retire. But the fun of it is in the journey. I'm from the Bay. We saw the Conscious Daughters, the Loonies, the Too Short, the E40s out the trunk with it, and really, and you saw how they were living too, and you were like, okay, they living independently, because it's something about being free, especially as a man in these times nowadays, to be free, have that freedom. You ain't, you're not tap dancing on Beale Street talking about give me some money. You're great. So it's all good. But with the business side of it, how do you navigate both? Because it's 90% business. And how did you go about getting on Amazon, getting on Apple TV, which is more difficult than getting on Amazon?
Well, yeah. So, and that's the side people understand. Just a little part of the game. For a lot of people don't understand, I should say. So most people are familiar with distributors. And, from the music, and I started in the music, so that helped me out a lot. And like you say, that out of the trunk, hey, I was inspired by all that when it was going on. If you would have asked me in my teenage years, I'd have thought rap was going to be what it was. So I started my own label, me and my brother, and I was 18, 19, and we was going hard at that. So a lot of those lessons I learned from the music, they translated, having to deal with a distributor, having to do a one sheet, having to find creative ways to promote, writing my own press releases in a way to try to get coverage. So I brought a lot of things over from music. But what happens now with film is you have distributors and you have aggregators. So most of the time a distributor can get you on all these platforms. They're going to take their cut, they're going to take whatever their cut is, be it significant or what, you're going to negotiate it. And they gonna handle all this. You giving up your rights. You telling them for X amount of time, it's on you. You basically got my movie. You're gonna give me my percentage, but how they navigate it and how they do what they do, they gonna kind of take it over. Whereas with an aggregator is the route I went. Again, it's that out the trunk 2020. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I can hit the same platforms these distributors hit. I might not have the relationships they have. Maybe they have some other relationships that can do some different things, but I like that challenge. So, I'm sitting here strategizing every day. I'm about to start another campaign. Like I ran a campaign. Okay, this web campaign. Now I'm in. I had to hire my own publicist. You know what I mean? With Lisa Bennett, shout out to her. She did a great job from day one. Getting me publicity for this, and I like that challenge. Everybody won't like that. So certain other people, yeah, you're gonna need to get a distributor interested, and you're gonna want to rock like that. If you don't want to roll up your sleeves and do this, I love this, that it's all on me. So later today, I'm back in my email, sending people things, strategizing how can I maximize this because I'm confident in the product. So now the game is just as many people eyes as I can get it in front of. Man, the sky's the limit for me. So that's the difference. So I dealt with an aggregator and did it that way where I can hit all the platforms y'all can hit, but it's understood. It's all on me. They ain't gonna do no promotion for me. They ain't gonna do none of that. But I feel like I can promote it myself, and me and my people, we can do that. So that's the game, the two sides of it, when it comes to film. And I chose to go this route. I didn't want to wait for a distributor. And I had a couple offers from distributors, and I had a nice distribution situation on the table, theatrical, like before this. So you mentioned people, this was going to theaters. And I ain't going to even say the name. It'll blow people's mind. Like, you know what I mean? Just the last name, the name literally who I was dealing with, you know what I mean? But COVID killed that because the theaters, and they were kind of like, let's wait and see what happened after the new year. And I was like, because we don't know what the new year going to bring. So it was just that having confidence in what I do and control it. And the thing is, when you do it that way, if you have the spirit for it, all you're doing is stacking those lessons on top of each other. You learn so much. So I'm like, I wouldn't have it no other way. I've had to do everything every step of the way. So now I know everything. I can help the next man. I can open a business showing people, how to make a movie start to finish and get your movie out there and all, you know what I mean? And because I've had to go through it, and music, you know what I mean? So that's what I like about it.
You definitely have some courses in you, and that's, where people want to take these quick courses, long courses, get the game. And, we've had people who do $30,000 a month in courses alone, depending on what you teach and how you preach it. So I love to hear that, because we need to know the game. That's been the problem with a lot of Black people is we've just taken the deal and we haven't learned the business side of it and wonder why we're broke after 10, 20 years of doing this entertainment. Get behind the scenes.
Exactly.
So how do you deal with, because you know this in music and in movies, that creative flow where you just want to create. So you put something out, now you're ready to create something else and say, okay, I need to put out something else, but you haven't, necessarily maxed out that last project. How do you control that? Because every creative, we have that. Like, I just want to create. If I can just create, throw it in the universe, let it do what it do. I don't want to worry about that other stuff, but I have to because I'm a businessman too. So how do you control yourself with that?
I just understand that it's a part of the game and look to the people I've been inspired by. Like you said, a lot of them in the Bay. When I got down here, I ended up in Memphis. I'm originally from Racine, Wisconsin. I ended up in Memphis originally to go to college. And I loved it, and I ended up making it in my home. But DJ Paul and Juicy J, I got here when 3-6 was still 666, and they was booming little cassette tapes with a little sticky label on it. I was like, who is these? Like, huh?
Tearing up the club.
Exactly. And I saw that. So I've always been inspired by that. So for me, it's not hard seeing what Master P did. And I've always been an interview fiend. Like a lot of people watch, interviews now because of YouTube. But I got in storage. I got every XXL source and vibe from, I got them in crates. You know what I mean? So just reading people's story and knowing what they was doing, that always inspired me. So I'm kind of I'm different in that way. Like you say, a lot of creatives. I've always been a writer first, so I'm a creative to the highest level in my mind. But I've always been inspired by that entrepreneur, seeing people handle their business and do that. So I'd rather just be creating, but I never ran into that other side who could do it. Like T.I., Jason Jeter or whatever, and Master P always had bars and People, you find a lot of people, they always got that other silent partner who he must be doing a lot of the business. I never could connect with a person that I was like with an equal vision. So I just always had to keep doing it myself. But that was pretty much it. I just knew it was necessary, and it was just something that interested me too, because I just watched what other people did and felt like I could do it. So there's always that balance, because I'm always on to writing the next thing, but there's just something in me, man, that just keeps going. Like, it's not a fear. I don't like to say fear, but a lot of people say, man, you do this, you do that, you teach, you going back to, like, what drives you? And I'm just like, there's this thing, like, I have all this God-given ability that let me take that. Everybody has God-given ability. Everybody has things that is innately you can do. I just look at it like I'm blessed that the things I can do are just easy to spot. Some people might be a mathematical genius or a scientist and but if nobody pull it out, they'll never know. But if you can write better than almost everybody around you, if you can read better, it stands out early. The teachers will tell you, well, you can write, like, you're going to do something with it. You know what I mean? It becomes easy to identify. So I always had this thing in me, like, man, I got to get all this stuff out of me before I leave here. I'm like, what kind of person would I be knowing what's in me and not get it out? So that's what just helps me keep going, because I'm just like, I got to get the stuff out of me.
Now, I love to hear that. In the words of Nipsey Hussle, he talked about, the kid always knew he was a genius, but he couldn't explain it because they gave him no platform, and to really push. And entertainment is hard for everybody. But those who really want to do it, you're going to win, because you're not going to stop. It's just in you, and you have to just keep pushing, and no one's going to give you anything. And to your point, and this is so self-serving, when you talk about those people who have those business managers, because that's, as a consultant, that's one of the titles that we have. What you have to find is somebody just as crazy as you. Mm-hmm. Because I have a lot of times people come, oh, you'd be great. But if you don't really respect the mind, if you don't respect the ideas, and you just kind of want someone to, oh, this is my assistant. We're not an assistant. We are a high-paid admin that is uber smart and have our own team and connections. And you got to let that person work in their creativity as well, because that's how you take someone from 50,000 to 500,000 and more in deals. And so I would just say, find someone just as crazy as nuts. You never know what they look like, sound like, but there's so many folks that don't look like us who automatically sometimes can get that type of work. They go work at a big agency. And I find a lot of us who are talented like that folks won't pay them. I know my retainer is high. I got a background I got to support, but I also make people money. And so when finding that person, just look for a teacher that, is that. Because a lot of us could go a lot further if we had that person, but we don't trust anybody, especially if they look like us. Oh, nah, he might steal my money. Okay, he's going to steal your money, and I've had those real life. I've actually fired a client after paying them $15,000, and so that's a whole nother story. My audience has heard this story. Pay somebody all their money, and then they say, "Hey, when we make 100,000, 200,000, I don't want to pay you." Mm-hmm. Huh? That's us worldwide. That situation, she was out of Africa, So I just say, I love for us to work together. I like my team to look like LeBron as much as it can, but we also, we got to work with who will work with us. With all the success that you are having and that you're going to have in the future, what is a community give back that you're doing or that you plan on doing?
What we're doing right now is building bridges that a lot of people can walk over. So my community give back on a daily is I'm an educator first and foremost. So, man, I've raised the army of students. So my thing is, I've tried to tell people, this is a time where we can seize an opportunity to go all the way outside the box. So as far as the community goes, man, we sit around, we had these conversations. I have them with my pops. I have them with, people I trust. We talk about black, what can we do? That's why I dropped it was fictional in a way, but the thing, not to give it away, that me and Khalil's character were talking about in the movie and trying to get off the ground came out of something I really was trying to do and had it laid out and had this plan. It was just like, people ain't trying to hear this right now. You know what I mean? It kind of folded up my blueprint, you know what I mean? But I was like, if I sprinkle it in the movie in a fictional way, like, hey, maybe I could plant the seed. So that's something I really got in the back of my mind still to do. But my thing is, okay, now we over here. We creating relationships in Ghana. There's certain things Ghana needs, there's certain things that we need. There's a possible synergy there. So now I'm looking at it like, I'm with everything, man. We just went through election season. I didn't really like to see. I mean, I like to see the passion for people wanting to make a difference and feeling like the election was the way to go, or our vote. Our vote is obviously important, but as Black people, who the president was has never really, 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 really mattered to us in a way that what we do for ourselves can matter. And that's why I was like, yeah, I get it with Trump. I get it I know, but I feel like people was giving him so much. Like I said, people laugh. I said, people was acting like he Thanos. They was acting like he gonna snap his finger. Like I've literally heard people acting like the world gonna end. Like we just fold up and die if he get reelected. Like I'm like, no, like we done lived through a lot of, you know what I mean? So I say all that to say, my intent for the community now, like power and partner with people, really letting people buy plots of land. You can come get an acre for X amount. You know what I mean? Like everybody's not going to want to move to Africa. Like we building businesses, we building things like that is to show people like, bro, we can get what we can get out of this relationship in a mutual way. So while we doing things over here, let's build businesses, man. Like let's build businesses here. Let's build businesses there. So everything I'm going to be about, everything I'm trying to be about, everything I'm now spinning this into is us being self-sufficient. Because again, I understand the importance of electoral politics, all of this, but I'm like, we've been going through the same thing for 400 something years, bro. It's not going to stop. I'm aboard the reparations train also. Everybody like, if they ain't talking about reparations, I don't want to hear it. I hear you, but are they really gonna give us reparations? I'm with it. I understand it. Of course we got the case for it. Of course we're owed it. Of course we deserve it. But bruh, do they really want to open them books up? I was talking to somebody recently, like they done gave them to everybody else. And it's like, yeah, because everybody else ain't us. They don't owe everybody else what they owe us. If they come with some little low amount, if they even give the hint that they think they gonna do it, they know we coming for it all. So my thing is, if we keep being boxed in, we keep having these issues with police, we keep having all this, it's like, bruh, we got to take this break. We got to huddle up and we got to turn into each other. And if we really, really, really organize, all that other stuff, man, can take care of itself. Like, we'll be able to take care of the police if we really organize as a community. The Black Panthers was formed partially to watch the police. They didn't have no cameras. They didn't have no technology. They out there with a pen and pad writing badge numbers and stuff like this and following police. Why we can't organize the community to, police, he on it, okay, everybody come outside. You know what I mean? My thing is, I'm telling people, imagine if we were so organized, as soon as you see the police, we got shifts. We got patrols through the whole city. We walk up to the police 8 a.m. How you doing, sir? I'm not armed. I'm not on I'm community so-and-so number 131. I've been assigned to you today. I'm gonna be keeping my distance, but I'm gonna be following you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we gonna be like, imagine if we was that organized. Like, what are you gonna do? And everybody looking at him. You gonna shoot all us? You know what I mean? Like, imagine if he was that on point. So that's a long-winded way to say, man, I've always been about organization, knowledge, trying to get to a certain point to come back and share it. So I've always been an educator at heart. So I walk around like doing that anyway. You know what I mean? Trying to get people on the same page. And now this is giving me another example to show, like, I went all the way over here and they got similar problems and they got some different ones, but they got some resources we can tap. Why should it only be the United States government and the UK and China tapping these resources? They want us to come tap them. They want us to partner with them. And if we partner with them, we can bring that and build businesses here. So I'm really on that, trying to build bridges. And even when it don't involve over there, like, bro, let's organize ourselves and we can take care of all these other problems, period. But we can't take care of none of them when we just all individuals scattered doing what we doing. Like, period. I don't see no way.
No, that's real talk. And if you have those land deals, please shoot them in an email, text, whatever, because I have a site. It's just a site we put up in about an hour, mallofafrica.africa, and we show those resources, even where you can get a job in Africa. You know, these are people that I know, every single one of them. And I've vetted them. I've known them, many of them for years, even where you can do investments for under $1,000 and make, you know, sometimes up to 43% on your money in these things. Not that they'll get you rich, but it's better than the bank is giving you. So if you have some of that savings, you know, not all of it, folks, but those a little here, a little there. So if you have a business like that or an offer, please, because people come check out the site to say, wow, I didn't know I could be a citizen over in these countries. We also have the citizenships where you can be, or the permanent residencies and what it takes to get there. And like I said, we put the site up in an hour because I had to get it out of my head. I know all these people. I had to throw that information there like there was no tomorrow.
Man, see, that's a beautiful thing, man, because that's what I'm saying. It's not, nobody's even asking all us to move back. That's not realistic. Like, all us moving back, it would never happen, but it don't need to happen. But if we have enough of us there, we have enough things like you just talked about, we have enough connections, then we have some kind of base outside of here like other people have. You know, certain other people never go back to their home countries, but they got ties there. They got relationships where they can draw resources and do certain things. We got to establish something outside of here like that to where it's not so difficult, man, and everything ain't on us. Because other than that, we always sitting ducks right here, just completely at the mercy of whatever's going on right here.
You know, I kind of see it like this, because I'm an extreme ownership type person. I read that book, and it's one of the books that helped change the life. But like how you see the Jews, the Chinese, and folks who are still connected to their motherland, they walk around with a different type of air, kind of like a guy or a woman who has a side piece. And they're like, wait, if this go bad over here, I'm still straight, right?
Right.
And that's what it is. And we don't have a side piece, but we do. We just got to go tap into it and see how much better that side piece. You know, you look at your co-star, the woman that you had in there, who I'd also like to have on here and talk about her role and why she connected in the movie. I know she's a big Ghana star, but even her, that is the essence to me of beauty. That's a full rounded woman. I have a wife, and that's how my wife is. She's not what they put on Vogue and Cosmopolitan isn't like, to me, like, that's not a real woman. Most women don't look like that. And, you know, there are women out in Ghana who have their own money who don't need nothing from you. And that's the type that y'all want. So it's an asset and not a liability. But can you talk about, you know, how you casted and just kind of how you felt women treated you over there?
Well, yeah, so there was a wish list of people I had at the top that I wanted to be in this movie. And most of the main parts came from that. Just wanting to work with people who I had seen. So as far as that part, you know, I had seen Anwar McBrown, just keeping up with African cinema, like you said, keeping up with Ghanaian cinema. There were certain people that I had on the list. Like, if I can get one of them, I'm good. You know, everybody else came from open casting calls. And it was crazy because they were doing the open casting call over there. I wasn't able to be there physically, so they recorded it for me. And then when I landed, we went through the video and cast the rest of the parts before we shot. But we didn't even plan it that way. But they were doing the open casting call over there at the same time as we were doing it over here in Memphis. So we on WhatsApp like, bro, look at this line. It's crazy, you know. And a lot of people turned out. and people who had done significant things over there had just, man, it was overwhelming, like, all right, wrapped around and all of this stuff. So they really got excited and came out for it. So we really had our pick of some great actors and actresses. And as far as how the women and the culture as a whole, and I say the women, what's crazy is and this is what we would never picture over here. It's so much more conservative. You know what I mean? It's like so much like Power was even trying to tell me before I got there, man. A lot of how it is here is like the 50s over there back home. And I'm like, gee, the 50s. But a lot of the way that people carry themselves and the women and all that, man, so much more modest and it's crazy. So now I'm looking at it like, look, social media is influencing it the other way. And no disrespect to Cardi B. I love Cardi B. You know what I mean? But Cardi is Cardi. Now you got some wannabe Cardis, so it's like, yo, chill. Like, no, stay the way you are. Cause, you know what I mean? It's like, it's this humility, this modestness, this kind of, we picture, I'm gonna go to these places, they're gonna be so much more exotic. So they're gonna be wild, they're gonna be, and it'd be like, nah, like not at all. You know what I mean? It's just like, again, it's that culture. It's like the culture our parents talked about growing up in the South. If your parents from the South, it's still like that. Like they describe it then, that humble come, oh, Miss So-and-so said this, down the street, go take care of her, and it still really is that culture. The woman who, there's the scene we shot, and this in the trailer, so I can give it, it's not giving anything away, where me and Anwar are walking down the street, and I'm walking her back, and the school is in the background. We had to, go get permission to use the school. We didn't go in it, but I was just like, we're showing their name and all of that. So this was always funny to me. So the woman who was in there, much older woman, we had to go in there almost sitting down, like the boss, like it reminded me of Madam Queen, if anybody ever saw Hoodlum, we had to go in there and pay our respect and ask respectfully, can we use it? So we were shooting that day. The day we were shooting, she said she had some cold drinks for us, and come back and get them, because it was hot outside. We like, thank you. So we got to shooting. We forgot about the drinks. We shooting, we off to the next thing. So we went back about 3 or 4 days later. PY, my guy, the producer, was like, yes, we have to go back and thank her for letting us use it. So we went in there. Yeah, thanks again for letting us use it. We really appreciate it. And she was like, you didn't come back and get those drinks. I had the drinks for you. I was like, oh, I felt so bad, you know what I mean? But it was like that so respectful, we had like disrespected because we didn't come back and get those drinks, you know what I mean? Like something that simple. Like she told us she had some cold drinks for us and we forgot. So we had to apologize, but it's like levels of respect, stuff over here is like, again, over here we can be lost in something like, yeah, she said, somebody might say they got a drink, they don't even mean it over here. Sometimes over here we say stuff just to say it. It's like, nah, she said that and she meant it, So, yeah, man, just beautiful. A whole different level of respect.
People here say I do, and I'll marry you to death do us part, better or worse, and don't mean it. What I find when you say reference to the South, because all my people are from Arkansas and they were born there. All my aunts and uncles and grandma and all that. What happened to when you come to a place bringing a gift? In Africa, you wanted something done, bring a gift and watch how quick it can be done. People say that's bribery. No, that's just, some people would bring a sweet potato back in the day. Bring a pie, bring something. And money always does work. It's nothing bad about if you bring money, but I definitely can feel you with that, that old school values that a lot of us still have, but we can't practice it as much because it's so much social distancing. And I don't mean COVID, but cultural distancing. And, I'm not going to do that because that'll make me seem weak or that'll make me seem too aggressive. Like I might want something. And we've kind of lost our way in a big way.
Yeah. What part of Arkansas are your people from?
Little Rock, like right outside of Little Rock.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
my family all from Arkansas too, man. Mother's grandfather, grandmother. Yeah, we go back in Arkansas too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, like you say, it's just it's a thing, man. I keep saying when I meet Sister Soldier, I still haven't met her. I'm gonna have to let her know. She inspired a lot of this in a small way. I didn't even know it was gonna be a movie yet, but she came to the University of Memphis in 2001. I was in grad school then, and she did this whole thing, this whole speech about going back to Africa. And like she said, even if not physically, just that, culturally, like you say, what happened to come and bring a gift? And like she was breaking down certain things they were doing. It's like, if we just get back to certain things that are done over there, and we like a blank canvas, man, like that have been corrupted with the wrong stuff. It's like you can rebuild a culture. It's like we have to force feed right now. Like we need to force feed and embrace, a culture right now. We got to reprogram ourselves and decide what our culture going to be and examine and take stuff from there and be like, look, because a lot of it is still there. I mean, you get over there, that's the thing you realize. It's like, dang, y'all really, a lot. Like, you get over there, all that stuff about, they ain't gonna like us. Damn. I can't speak for no other African countries yet. I haven't been there, but Ghana has a lot of similarities. You get over there and be like, man, y'all just like us. And, certain stuff you be like, it's different, but you can pick and choose. Like we need to rebuild our culture, man. And it's hard, man. It's sad to me because I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where we can do that. There's so much, we've bought into so much of this culture, American culture, which came from European culture and individualism. And I'm just trying to get mine. And man, we ain't gonna never get it like that.
Yeah. And some of the, I could already hear some of the haters, and we don't give them much play. But I remember my first trip to Africa was South Africa. And folks wanted to know who really knew Africa. How did you go? Where did you go? And they were right for saying this. They weren't hating, but they were hating at the same time because it's like South Africa, that's the Europe of Africa. That's where the white man came and he put things together and he's still in control, like it's not Africa. And now I see people trying to say that with Ghana because there's so many Black Americans there. And, oh, it's Ghana, but it's this. But I've been to Cameroon, where my wife is from, Ethiopia, Kenya, and South Africa, and I see the similarities to the part where even the food, we're all eating the same thing. We may call it something different. Why are we allowing, even on the continent, all this tribalism to say, hey, you call it fufu, I call it nsima, maybe in Malawi, and people want to fight over things that don't make a dang difference. But we get American privilege anytime we leave this country, wherever we go, and all we have to do is be Americans because we're never fully, you can't be from Ghana. You're from America. And you can only do your best to assimilate to what makes sense to you. But I think movies like yours are going to show how those cultural blends work, which means you got a lifetime times 10 of movies to make because you can tell this story in Ghana, Ethiopia, the Congo. You can go to where the Negritos are in Asia and, really talk about the business and how we're everywhere. And even Fiji, where they say they know they're from Africa. I know folks from Fiji, they say we're African. So you got a lifetime of movies. And I'm just so excited for you, brother.
Man, I appreciate that, man. And you hit it on the head, man. There's so many stories to tell that I'm just like, man, it'll never stop. And that's just how my mind works as a writer and as a filmmaker. So yeah, it's cool you said that because yeah, you thinking exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, I got this first brick, you know what I mean? And it's just gonna make the next one easier, which makes the next one easier, and we just keep it going from there, man.
Well, you guys have been blessed with the game. Not going to give you a game overload because we went from movies to cultural differences to how to put the bricks together and, do it yourself. So you've gotten the game. You want to do movies? Rewind this and study. I thank you, brother, for being on.
Man, thank you again for having me.